Why smart people still procrastinate. Have you ever noticed something strange? The smartest people you know often struggle the most to start. They have the ideas. They understand the problem. They know exactly what needs to be done. And yet, the work sits there, unfinished, delayed, pushed to tomorrow. Then tomorrow becomes next week. And next week becomes someday. It doesn't make sense. If someone is intelligent, shouldn't things be easier for them? But procrastination doesn't come from a lack of intelligence. In fact, sometimes intelligence is the reason it happens. Imagine a student sitting down to start an assignment. They read the question. Immediately their brain starts racing. They think about 10 different ways to approach it, 10 different possibilities, 10 different ways it could go wrong. A less analytical mind might simply start writing, but a highly analytical mind keeps thinking and thinking and thinking until thinking replaces action. The same thing happens with ambitious people. They don't just want to do the work. They want to do it perfectly. They want the idea to be impressive, the result to be meaningful, the outcome to be worth the effort. So they wait. They wait for the perfect plan, the perfect timing, the perfect burst of motivation. But perfection has a hidden side effect. It raises the pressure. And when pressure rises high enough, starting becomes intimidating. So the brain searches for relief, not consciously, but automatically. You open your phone. You watch one video, then another. You tell yourself you'll start soon, just after this, just after a little break. But the break stretches longer, not because you're lazy, but because your brain is avoiding discomfort. There's another reason intelligent people procrastinate. They can see the full complexity of a task, where others see a simple project. They see layers, details, potential mistakes, future consequences. The more you see, the heavier the task feels. So your brain hesitates. But here's the part most people don't realize. Procrastination isn't a time management problem. It's an emotional regulation problem. Your brain delays the task because it wants to avoid a negative feeling, uncertainty, pressure, fear of failure, or even fear of success. Yes, success, because success raises expectations. And higher expectations mean more pressure next time. So the brain chooses the safer option. Delay, distraction, temporary comfort. But temporary comfort always comes with a hidden cost. Stress later, guilt later, regret later. The smartest people often fall into this trap because they are aware of the stakes, aware of the possibilities, aware of the pressure. And awareness can either drive action or paralyze it. So how do you break the cycle? Not with motivation. Motivation is unreliable. Not with pressure. Pressure often makes procrastination worse. Instead, you reduce the size of the starting point. Instead of telling yourself to finish the entire project, you tell yourself to start for 5 minutes. 5 minutes feels safe. 5 minutes feels manageable. And once the brain starts moving, resistance drops, momentum begins. Another strategy is removing the idea of perfect outcomes. Progress works better than perfection. Done works better than perfect, because action creates clarity, while overthinking creates delay. The truth is, smart people are not immune to procrastination. In many cases, they are more vulnerable to it, because they think deeper, see more risks, feel more pressure. But intelligence can also be your advantage. Because once you understand the pattern, you can interrupt it, you can start smaller, act sooner, and move forward before doubt has time to grow. Procrastination doesn't mean you lack discipline. Sometimes it simply means your mind is trying to protect you from discomfort. But growth lives on the other side of that discomfort. And the moment you start, even imperfectly, you remind your brain of something important. Action is always easier than anticipation. And the smartest move you can make is simply beginning.